In the last video, I talked about the importance of people with regards to tech transitions. If you haven't seen that last video, it's a primer for this video, so I suggest you check it out. With that said, let's get right to it. I hate to start this video off with bad news, but such is life. I'm sorry to break it to you, but people don't like change. If you weren't aware of the essence of tech transition or IT modernization or digital transformation or any of the other buzzwords in this space, it's all about change. If you're upgrading, transforming, or modernizing your tech, you're changing. Therefore, since people don't like change on one end and tech transition is all about change, I can guarantee you that the number one issue during a tech transition is going to be resistance. Some may be overt, some may be covert. Just know that resistance will happen. Let me say this. Overcoming resistance is not trivial. And therefore, it's the number one reason that most transitions fail. The normal approaches to people transition don't work because resistance is emotional. Therefore, bombarding people with training and meetings, while good, will never solve your challenges to resistance. So here are 3 things you must do to overcome resistance during your tech transition. Now, these are relatively high level, so just know that there's a ton of nuance within all 3. Number 1, identify the champions, or the 10 to 20% of people that are totally on board with the transition and also willing to help others as they slowly overcome their resistance to the transition. Make sure that you have champions at every level of the organization, from leadership down to your frontline folks. Number 2, you then want to identify the maybe 10 to 20% of folks that most certainly will not change. We all know who those folks are. So we identify them because these are the people that will be forever stuck in resistance mode. No, you don't want to fire them just yet. You just want to identify them because you know that no matter what you do, they will not change. And so you want to be able to account for this as you go through your transition. Now that you've identified the folks on one side that are your champions and the folks on the other side that definitely will resist no matter what, you're left with about 60 to 80% of the people in your organization that you'll need to help overcome their resistance. Now, this is where you'll spend the majority of your time as it pertains to the people change aspect of transition. Number 3, you're going to strategically leverage the champions, or the people without the resistance, to help gradually change the people in the middle. The key is to create momentum. Think of a snowball rolling down a hill. In the beginning, the snowball is relatively small and rolls relatively slowly. But as it continues to roll, it picks up momentum and gets larger, faster. Overcoming resistance to tech transitions go pretty much the same way. You'll start with the champions, then you'll get a few folks in the middle on board. And as the momentum increases, more and more of the folks in the middle will be less resistant to change, less resistant to the transformation, less resistant to the transition. I hope you get the point. There's a lot of nuance here, but I hope you get the big picture. You're going to have people that are champions, people that no matter what you do will never ever be on board and they're going to resist. And then you have that 60 to 80% in the middle that you're going to be working on to change throughout the transition. Just know that your transition success is on the other side of the resistance of the people in the middle. In other words, if you get them on board, you will be successful.